Hey, it's Azrielle Lawless. And once again, you have wandered into Hella Vella, a place where we talk about the new and exciting serial reading platform from Amazon Kindle called Vella, where you can read epic stories, one short episode at a time. And I'm Azrielle Lawless, and I am going to do a Lawless interview with Mr. Mark Loeffelholz, who writes The Disappearance of Wiley Hood and the Deusenberg. How you doing today, Mark?
Oh, I'm doing great, Azrielle. It's great to be talking with you today. Been looking forward to this for a long time.
Very nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you. I couldn't say his name to save my life. It is Loeffelholz, and oh, believe me, I had to have a lesson on how to say it before we got on recording here. So, but it is a distinctive name, and he writes a very distinctive type of Vela. So the first question I ask everyone on here is, when did you get started writing? And I mean, by that, I mean prose, like a story, a cohesive story of some kind.
Well, I decided I wanted to become a writer at age 11. I wrote my first novel in high school. It's about a sophomore in high school, junior in high school. Ran about 275 pages double space, and it will never be seen by anybody ever. It's in a fireproof box, and maybe they'll bury it with me. I don't know, but nobody sees it. Nobody sees it.
Okay. Awesome. Well, but that's quite an accomplishment. Would you say that it was a full, like, 50,000 words?
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, it's 50 or 60,000 easy.
Right on.
I wasn't counting words in those days. I was just, I was
impressed by the
stack of paper. Right.
Nobody was counting words. I mean, I don't know when those days. Yes, I know when those days were for you, because before we got on here, we also talked about being the same age. So Mark and I are the same age. So yeah, 29, and always will be. So there it is.
That's right. In my case, I'm about 15 and holding. I don't think I ever really grew up.
All right. It's funny how you get into a place in your head, right, where you feel you are a certain age, and then you just stop aging in your mind. It's critical for a writer, because you have to maintain a certain childlike wonder if you're going to make stuff up and be convincing about it. You literally have to maintain a sense of childlike wonder. I strongly believe that. Well, I agree with that. But sometimes you feel a little, I don't know, you can be a little naive.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's that. You have to be cynical at the same time. You have to be grizzled and cynical and maintain childlike wonder. It's really very simple.
I'm sure. Okay. So after high school, did you go on to college, or did you go on to work?
I went to the military. I spent 4 years in the Air Force, and I was stationed in Spain for 2 years. And in those days, I had a Spanish girlfriend. I wrote a lot of poetry. Did not write a lot of, nobody sees that either. I think she might have it.
I'm certain of that.
Yeah. Then the second half of my enlistment, I was at Luke Air Force Base out in Arizona, and I actually started writing my second novel out there, which is a science fiction kind of after the end of the world kind of thing, kind of a Noah's Ark in space kind of story. And I could see improvement in myself, but I wasn't where I needed to be.
So give me a sense of what year this is.
About 1983, 1984.
Oh, wow. I didn't have my stuff together that early to be able to write novels.
Well, I don't think it would stand up to a serious critical review. So, I mean, I was, you learn, you fall down, and you see where you tripped and fell, and then you pick yourself up and dust yourself off and try to do better. That's what it's all about.
So then after the 80s, after the military, you came out. Did you try to go the traditional publishing route?
Yeah, I tried that a couple of times. I spent a lot of time experimenting with the short story form. I wrote 6 or 8 short stories, of which The Disappearance of Wiley Hood was originally a 5,500 word short story.
I see.
And then I became a screenwriter in the 90s. I was almost produced in 2008. That's a long story. It's a completely different set of writing muscles too. So it's that is interesting in itself, the process of that. And, balancing between the two, there's you have to decompress from one and get yourself mentally prepared to
I can see that.
page, which comes out to 95-minute version of the Hood. So
I didn't get that last part.
it ran about 95 pages, which would have been a 95-minute feature film. And I used that as the outline when it was time to write a full-length novel. There's no better outline for a novel than a motion picture script, and then you just get to flesh everything out and add fresh material. And, you really get to know characters you don't get to know in a film, in a film script. So.
Right. So you moved so you had almost had some success there, but moved on to writing fiction,
And I was frustrated with that. I almost got produced, like I say, in 2008. My father, who was still alive at the time, said, and he knew I was frustrated with that process. He's like, you should write an old-fashioned private eye novel. He was reading Mickey Spillane at the time. He was reading I, the Jury by Mickey Spillane. And, I thought about that. Then I really started to seriously put that together. And I decided my dad was born in Lakeland, Florida, lived in Coral Gables, right outside Miami, Florida. So I said, I'm going to set this at a time when he would have been a kid. And it's like, it's like an old Humphrey Bogart movie with only R-rated with more action, So that's really what it is. And it really, once I had all the game pieces on the board and started plotting it, he started talking to me. And when he started talking to me, I knew I was onto something. So I just had an absolute blast writing. The first Oscar Jade was called Blood and Ashes. And I am going to convert that to Vella at some point. It's available on Amazon in paperback and regular Kindle right now.
You can't do that. You can't take something that's already been out there and put it on Vella.
Oh, I did not know that.
Oh, God, no.
That's good to know.
They'll yank it down.
Yeah. Okay, well.
Well, first they'll freeze your account.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Thank you for that information. So yeah, so I will definitely from now on, my Oscar Jade stories will go on to Vella as well as anything else I do, because it's such a dynamic platform. I really enjoy that.
And so that's my next question is, when did you and how did you hear about Kindle Vella?
Well, I was publishing. I had 2 books out already on 2 Oscar Jade stories on regular Amazon. Mm-hmm. So when Kindle Vella started to break, I got word pretty early on. And then I looked into it and I'm like, well, that seems like fun. And once I finished the draft of Wiley Hood and I got that ready to publish, I decided it was going to debut on Vella first, and it did. It came out a full 3 weeks before the book dropped on Amazon in physical and regular Kindle. So that's out there in all three versions. So, but it debuted, fortunately, from what I'm hearing, it debuted in Vella first. So I guess that's the way to do it. So yeah, and it's like I say, it's 90,000 words long. It's 385 pages in print and the chapters are big, but it's a very fast read. And if I were to drop dead tonight, that's the one I want everybody to know me by. That's the one I believe I will be remembered by. As much as I love my mystery stuff, Disappearance of Wiley Hood is the one.
Right. And that's the one where basically this guy starts disappearing a piece at a time.
Yes, he's a 25-year-old. He's an artist. He's a painter. Master's degree in art, very talented. His brother commits suicide. His brother was a gifted guitarist and commits suicide, and it wrecks Wiley. And he's not able to paint for a year until he has a nightmare one night that his dead brother, they're on a swim dock on a lake, and his dead brother jumps into the lake and beckons for him to come just as a fog comes in. And he decides he's going to jump in and follow him. And at that moment, he wakes up in a cold sweat. And that's Monday. And on Monday, his employee ID card goes away. Very random. But then the next day, his driver's license, his insurance paperwork. As the day progresses, bank account. And it expands, and there are nightmares, visions. It's a full-length Twilight Zone episode is really what it is. And it was inspired by Richard Matheson. I don't know if you know who Richard Matheson was. He was one of the original screenwriters of the Twilight Zone. He wrote 16 episodes of the original show, in addition to lots of movies and novels.
Tell me an episode that he wrote.
The Terror at 30,000 feet, where William Shatner's sitting in the plane and the little gremlin is on the wing of the plane.
Yep, I know that.
That's Richard Matheson. Yeah. So, and he also wrote the Incredible Shrinking Man.
Oh, cool.
And which is what inspired me to write Wiley. And I'm like, that's such a interesting content. And like, how about if we try that on an existential level? Instead of physically shrinking or whatever, what if his existence becomes ambiguous over a period of time?
Wow.
And eventually friends start treating him differently because they're not sure they know him. It's more than just I really recommend people read it. You will not have read anything like this ever. I guarantee this will be a new experience for anybody who decides to take the plunge.
Well, you've heard it. And we'll have the link for it right here. So if you want to give it a try, The Disappearance of Wiley Hood, this dude's magnum opus, that if he died tomorrow, this would be the one that he would want you to know he wrote.
Absolutely right.
So I got that one. All right. So that's one Vella, and it's complete in 30 episodes.
Yes.
It's already done. Okay. Now tell me about the Deusenberg.
The Deusenberg it's a novella. And it runs about 13,000 words in length, and it's complete at 14 chapters. It's on Kindle Vella. It is and I've written 2 Oscar Jade stories that are available on Amazon: Blood and Ashes and Stormmaker. In the book Stormmaker, at the beginning, as he's got a secretary named Myrna who has said, you can't do this because you have all these other jobs. One of the jobs she throws at him is that a wealthy car collector has had a very expensive car stolen from him by his own grandson and has fled to Oklahoma. And Jade is like, I can't deal with that right now. I'll deal with that later. Well, so we have that adventure. And then this is a month or so after the end of that story. And he's in Oklahoma now, on the clock for this guy on an expense account to get this outrageously expensive and priceless automobile. There are only 4 of these automobiles in existence. There were only 4 in existence in 1942. I think there might only be 1 or 2 in existence now. So it's an actual car. It's the Deusenberg Model X with a dual cowl phaeton. I don't even know what all that means, but the researching it was fantastically fun.
That does sound like fun.
Yeah.
Well,
and he
okay.
he goes in and it's about him getting that car back for his client. and he meets shady characters and has to do some dodgy things. And that's also a lot of fun. It's classic Oscar Jade. Oscar Jade, and I had not written Jade for a year and a half while I finished Wiley. But as soon as I started writing the Deusenberg on page 1, and Jade he drives a 1935 Ford Roadster. He's driving across this desolate Oklahoma 2-lane blacktop.
Now,
boy, Jade,
now, who is Oscar Jade? Is he of your invention, or?
He's a figment of my imagination. He is a private detective. He was a police detective in Miami Beach. He has one club foot. He has a club left foot. And despite that, he tried out as a pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals in 1934 and almost made the team. Was an amateur Golden Gloves boxer. So he's an athlete despite his disability. He has a strict personal code of honor. And the villain in the Deusenberg is a real douchebag. And we learned that early on. He goes in, and as he deals with him, you just know this guy's going to get his comeuppance at some point. And that's really what the story is about, is Jade gets the car back,
Awesome.
Jade is inspired. Those stories and books are inspired by the old Ian Fleming James Bond novels, the actual novels that were written in the 1950s, but also Dashiell Hammett and Raymond Chandler. Big influences of mine, and
That's
Mickey
really
Spillane,
cool.
of course. Yeah,
and noir is pretty big right now.
It's a very fun sandbox to play in, And I'm gonna write those until I keel over. I'm just gonna keep writing.
Well, that's pretty cool. So you have another one planned. You're working on it now.
Yes, and it's that I've already posted about it on Facebook. It's called Eyes of the Dead. It's going to be a full-length Jade novel. And the action of that is going to bring Jade into central Illinois, the farmland of central Illinois where I live, but in 1942.
Oh,
and
wow.
So I'm researching, I'm doing 1940s research on my own hometown.
Isn't that
and my maternal grandfather is going to be a character in the story. So
oh my God, that's cool.
Lot of fun. Yeah. I personalize all the stuff. In the first Jade book, Blood and Ashes, my dad and his family, my dad's a toddler, and they appear as extras playing on the beach as Jade is all hung over looking out at the water. So I actually gave my dad a cameo as himself at a year and a half old.
Very nice. Well, I like that. I like that a lot. And I know that other people will too. So how have you found the Vela community? Have you
I enjoy the people are so nice. I have shared, not only I have posted on Hella Vela, but there are several Vela communities, and I've got, a bunch of stuff in my to read list on Vela, and people have been nice and been reading my stuff, and I need to get on I need to support more than I have been, and I aim to, because this is all about getting noticed. That it's
right. But you never told me, when did you upload these stories, dude?
Okay. The actual Disappearance of Wiley Hood dropped on April 12th, and it was the end of March. It was on Kindle Vella exclusively for about 3 weeks. So it dropped in March of 2022.
Right.
And then after I published that, I banged out this Deusenberg short story, and that one dropped in like May or June. So I've had a very productive patch right now. I'm reading constantly and writing every day. So
right, very cool.
Got to keep the brain limber. Yes,
you do. So so you've had a chance to see some bonus money.
Oh yeah, I absolutely, yeah. I was surprised by the bonus money. That was very nice. That's a nice bit of validation from an unexpected source, because
right.
I didn't really know too much of the community, and it's really nice. The points and clicks, the points and clicks matter so much to the Vela writers. I mean, liking them, reviewing them, tell your friends, I
Yes.
say that on behalf of all my, Kindle Vella brothers and sisters. We need your points and clicks.
Yes, we do. And that's what this channel is all about, is to try and get the actual Vela platform up in the consciousness of the algorithm so that more people will know about it.
Yeah.
So different one of you guys every day. Hopefully each one of you are bringing 5 or 6 people into the audience, and let's get this thing going, because so many people still don't have any idea what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's such a great and dynamic, I said this before, a dynamic platform for and to just bite size, my Deusenberg story, man, they're in like 1,000-word bites. It's you can on your break at work, you can read a little bit and then come back to it. And I really enjoy it. I enjoy that aspect of it. A friend of mine, excuse me, read Wiley for the first time as Vella. He's like, this works so well as an episodic. He said it reminds me of the old serialized stories that you would see in the old magazines, which I thought was a very nice compliment, because Wiley lends itself very well to this format. And then it's each episode in Vela is a self-contained chapter. And I'm a big believer in cliffhangers and leaving that, you want to leave the reader hanging at the end of a chapter, so you have momentum moving forward.
Right. And that's the way to write a serial.
Yeah, absolutely.
And many writers start out writing serialized fiction, like Stephen King.
Right.
For instance. So if you've been out there reading, have you got anybody you want to shout out for their work?
I am just delving into Hunter Chadwick, the After It's Over, the post-apocalyptic story. I'm interested in that kind of thing. And I'm impressed with anybody who can pull that genre off, because that's tricky. And it's not like it's not been trodden over before. So finding an interesting way to do it and to make it fresh is a great accomplishment.
I've read some of his After It's Over, and I really enjoyed it.
Yep, that's going to be my first project for sure.
So that's your shout out?
That's my shout out.
All right. Well, the next question that's tough on you is, if you woke up tomorrow and suddenly you were CEO of Kindle Vella and you could do anything you wanted to do, what, if anything, would you do to improve the platform or the reader experience or the writer experience, both?
Well, the first thing my first priority would be more visibility. I think I would do a nationwide promotional campaign. I mean, shouting it out. And I've not seen that. You have to, Vela seems like it's a well-kept secret. So the first thing I would do would be to shout it out. And it's like, we have got something special here, that you're not going to find anywhere else. These are writers, you have not read before, in all likelihood. Every story is unique. Every Vela author is unique, and it's spending a little of Amazon's capital to give it a high priority marquee. It needs a place on Amazon's marquee. That's what I would do.
Give it a good marketing campaign and some priority space on the real estate for the front page of Amazon.
Yes, indeed.
That'd be pretty good. If that happened tomorrow, we'd all be pretty damn happy, I can tell you that.
Oh, absolutely right. Absolutely right. I would like to get out of retail. So,
I hear you there. Retail will kill you.
Yeah. although it's rich for inspiration. I see people, I encounter lots of people every day, and somebody will pass me by and I'm like, I'm going to use that face. I'm going to use that face.
I bet
Or
you
the
do.
way they walk, there's, writers are observant people, and there's life's rich pageant. There's a lot of inspiration out there. You just have to know where to find it.
Exactly.
There's gold on the beach. There's gold on the beach everywhere you walk. You don't even need a metal detector. All you got to do is use your eyes.
Well, and there's gold in them there Velas. We've got a couple of good Norse stories that are already there that you've written, Mark, and we're going to put those links in the description of this video. What would you like to say before we say sayonara for today? What would you like to say to anyone clicking on your links here and reading your stories for the first time?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for your time, because if you don't read me, I'm just sitting here talking to myself in a dark room, So thank you for your time. And Oscar Jade will be a blast if you like action and noir private detective stuff. But if you want something that will honestly make you question my sanity, if you're, that'll make you question possibly your perception of reality, something that you're going to be thinking about for a long time after you finish the story, The Disappearance of Wiley Hood is the one that you should read. And I pray you do.
Challenge.
I pray you do. And then leave me a review, especially if you like it. Especially if you like it. And everybody that has read it so far, they cry. There's laughter. There's nightmarish stuff. There are elements of horror in it. I call it a psychological fantasy because much of the original Twilight Zone were psychological type fantasies where you question the nature of reality. So that's what this is. And that's solidly where its inspiration comes from, is the Twilight Zone.
And man, I love me some Twilight Zone.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today. Not us, I'm a me here today, and talking about your serials. I'm excited to see some more from you there, and
absolutely
hope that we will be seeing more of you. And
most definitely.
We'll get Hunter shouted out for you. This will be up in a few days. And I'm going to say bye. Bye, everybody. Take care of yourself.
Peace out, everyone. Read your Vellas. We love you.
Come back often, and be sure and like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Thanks a lot, y'all. Bye-bye.
Take care.